County Fairgrounds and discover the enchanting world of Candleberry candles in the huge Candleberry Corner. Refresh your world with our array of fresh cargo scents for cars for $1.99, tantalizing tarts $7.99, and delightful room sprays for $9.50. Small jars are $14.99, large jars $25.99, grand candy jars for $89.99, and a large selection of cookie jars for that special someone at $159.99. Visit us at Papa's Quick Stop across from the Boyle County Fairgrounds for an exhilarating experience.
It's 8:05.
The WHIR weather forecast is brought to you by the...
This is the Joe Pags Show. To talk to Joe, call 888-941-PAGS. And now, it's Joe Pags.
Great radio stations across the land, also Patriot.tv, plus streaming all over the place. And you're checking out the podcast as well. It's the Joe Pags Show. Glad to have you along for the ride for a Thursday. That's Sam, that is Polo, and I'm going to be your talk show host. We've got Laura Trump at the bottom of the hour. It's L-A-R-A, so it's Laura. I think the only person who's allowed to call her Laura is Sean Hannity, I think. So we've got Laura Trump at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about her stepping down from the RNC, why she's not running for Senate. Will she do so in the future? She alludes to something she's working on that she's very excited about that she can announce, I believe, after the inauguration. I tried to get it out of her. I could not. I made the attempt. It didn't work. So we're going to have that with her. Also, what does she think about the wildfires? What should President Trump do? What can he do once he takes over January 20th to get some water into the area, to make them clean up the brush, to make it less susceptible to having these fires that tear down homes and entire communities, kill people? By the way, Polo found this on TMZ. The New York Post said that Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg did lose their houses, and TMZ is reporting that they didn't, that their houses were spared from the flames. So we'll keep an update on what's going on over there for sure as we go forward. John Fetterman is a guy that I don't think should be a senator. I have no disdain for John Fetterman. I just don't like his politics. I thought that Dr. Oz would have been better. We had Dr. Oz in this program in the attempt to help him to get over the top. He lost, though, to a man that suffered a stroke 6 months earlier and had a problem communicating. I found it to be very, very strange that went down that way. Having said that, Fetterman, it looks like, is going to be meeting with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. This is very interesting because Fetterman, no matter what you think of the guy, politically has always, and again, I don't know him, so I don't have any thoughts about him personally, but he's a guy that has, without a doubt, been a very liberal Democrat. He's somebody who is like, not an old school Democrat, although he's become much more pragmatic lately. Things seem to change for Fetterman when suddenly he's going to be meeting with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. I find this to be very interesting. Yes, Senator for all, Fetterman set to meet with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. What's interesting is, lately people have been talking about whether Fetterman's going to be voting with the Republicans. Will he caucus with the Republicans? Why not just switch to Republican if that's who you are? On the policies, I don't think he is. But then again, I like our friend Tulsi Gabbard, who on the policies was not a Republican either, now is a Republican, and she has changed her stances on some things. So this is interesting. Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman confirmed he will meet with President-elect Trump ahead of the former and upcoming president's second inauguration on January 20th. Quote, President Trump invited me to meet, and I accepted. I'm the senator for all Pennsylvanians, not just Democrats in Pennsylvania. Fetterman told Fox News on Thursday. Some would call that today. I've been clear that no one is my gatekeeper. I will meet and have conversation with anyone if it helps me deliver for Pennsylvania and the nation, he added. A source familiar with the meeting. I hate that. Sam, I hate that. A source familiar with the meeting.
It's a source.
A source familiar with the meeting. And they're all using this now. This isn't just CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC. This is Fox. A source familiar with the meeting. Come on. Told Fox Digital it'll take place over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago. It'll be the first known meeting between Trump and a sitting Democrat senator at Mar-a-Lago. They keep on saying Democratic senator. I keep on correcting them. It's Democrat. All senators are Democratic. They all believe in the voters voting and in the sense, the ideology of democracy. Although, yes, we're a representative constitutional republic. Do not email me. I know. But we're a democratic form of government. And calling them the Democratic Party doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I digress. Fetterman endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president during the 2024 election cycle, but was one of the few Democrats who spoke publicly about Trump earning a strong showing of support among voters, most notably in his battleground home state of Pennsylvania. Quote, "There's a difference between not understanding but also acknowledging that it exists," Fetterman told the New York Times in October of Trump's support. And anybody who spends time driving around and you can see the intensity, it's astonishing. In another interview ahead of the election, Fetterman acknowledged Pennsylvania voters shared a connection with Trump before also launching expletives directed at Trump and mocking the former president's campaign. I mean, Fetterman's been all over the place. Very interesting. Just is. I've been saying this, whether it was Biden or then became Harris. I said it's going to be very close, and Trump definitely has a connection with voters here in Pennsylvania, and that's why it's going to be close, Fetterman said on CNN's State of the Union in November ahead of Election Day. So the question becomes for me, does this make sense? And of course, I'm a Trump guy, and I want Trump to be able to use his leverage and position to get more votes than he would have otherwise. And if he can get John Fetterman as a vote here and there, that'd be pretty interesting. That would be, it would be like Reagan-esque, because Reagan was getting people on both sides. But do you believe John Fetterman is suddenly this middle-of-the-road moderate guy? Again, I think he's being smart in that he's being pragmatic in that if he wants to keep his position in a state that just voted in President Trump in Pennsylvania, he probably has to do this shift. But do you buy it? When a Democrat says, "I'm no longer Democrat, I'm now sort of independent," like Kristen Sinema in Arizona, the former senator. She said, "I'm no longer a Democrat, I'm an independent." And then for the most part, she voted with the Democrats. I don't know what she thought she was getting out of that. Maybe she thought she would garner some more votes next time, although she didn't run for re-election. But at the end of the day, you had somebody who claimed she was something she wasn't and always voted with the left. I forget the guy's name. I don't know if it was Jeffers. I think Jeffers is the guy. That jumps out at me. Could be. I'm willing to be wrong about that. But there was another so-called independent several years ago in the House of Representatives that always caucused with the Democrats. So I don't know what they gained by saying independent. Now, John Fetterman has not said he's an independent, but I can see that coming down the tracks. I can see something going on toward that end. Do I think he'll come out and say he's a Republican? I don't. I think then the support in Pennsylvania would just go away. And again, Pennsylvania more of a red state now, it seems, because of Trump's big win. But Fetterman was not elected by people on the right. He was elected by people on the left. He was elected because Barack Obama went there and stumped for him, because Harris went there and stumped for him, because Biden, everybody went there and stumped for John Fetterman. I don't think he can just say, "I'm no longer going to be on that side at all." But what do you think you get out of it? I mean, let me know. 833-563-7247, 833-JOE-PAGS, or joepags.com. Scroll down, click on email, or go to X. We're talking about stuff on X all the time. Go to TikTok, go to YouTube. All those links are on the top. What does the president gain by meeting with a John Fetterman? And do you forget everything that he said before and say, okay, well, maybe he's actually in a better place now politically, and I can use that vote? I mean, does Trump try to? He's the guy, the master of getting the deal done, right? The art of the deal. Does he, while Fetterman is there, get Fetterman to say, "I'm going to vote with you. I'm going to vote with Republicans. If you do this legislation, I will vote with your side"? Because I can't see any other reason why you invite the guy with the shorts on and the hoodie to come to Mar-a-Lago and hang out with the president-elect. I don't see why else you do that. Or, I mean, for Trump, I don't know that there's a downside for Trump. Because now he can look at people like Chuck Schumer and say, "Yeah, I just had Fetterman over. How you doing?" He can look at Nancy Pelosi. "Yep, Fetterman just had some prime rib over at the house. How you doing, Nance? With your walker." So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is a win-win for Trump as long as he's on his game, and I think he is, and doesn't fall for the okie doke. Because John Fetterman is what he's done till now. He could change that course by doing different things. He's saying the right things, hasn't done anything that shows any moderation, hasn't done anything to show any right leanings at all, to be honest with you. So it'll be very interesting to see how this shakes out. I think that it's going to rock the left more than the right. I don't think the right really cares that Fetterman comes over for dinner. I think this is going to bother the left. I would be surprised if Chuck Schumer has not already tried to intervene and say, hey, John, what are you doing? We got you elected. Why are you going to Mar-a-Lago? Again, 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-JOE-PAGS, joepags.com. Make sure that you have yourself heard. Again, send me an email if you'd rather not be on the radio. Let me tell you about Eden Pure, our great sponsor. We love telling you about Eden Pure. We've got the Eden Pure Thunderstorm in my house, 3 of them. They smell great, takes out any sort of odor. Could be from cooking, could be temporary, could be something you couldn't find for a long time. It seeks out and destroys the odors. And now the 3rd generation unit is available. It's got 2 different technologies that kill 99.9% bacteria and viruses. The odors don't stand a chance. The pet dander, all those allergens in the air. Get this in your house right now. You're going to smell the difference right away. And again, it gets rid of any odor. Could be any odor that you can think of. We've literally taken this from room to room where, okay, what happened over here? The dog did what? Okay, let's do this. And then you plug it in. You can take it with you, put it in your suitcase, and put it in the hotel room if you want. You go right now to EdenPureDeals.com, use promo code PAGS3, and save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for the entire house. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack is available. Going to save $200. Going to get for less than 200, 3 units. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code is PAGS3, and we're back after this.
You're listening to Joe Pags.
Weeknights from 6 to 9 on WHIR AM 1230 and online at hometownlive.net.
Oh, no. Stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatitis. The symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Candidate with ZipRecruiter.
Big deals.
1, 2, 3. Oh, hi. Jenny here. Just counting all the dollars I saved at my local Big Deals online store. What? You haven't saved yet? Get on it. You'll love the great selection of gift certificates at discount prices. They make great gifts, too. And you can shop right from your phone. Nothing satisfies like counting all those savings. Now let me get back to it. 6, 7, 8.
Go to hometownlive.net to shop and save at the Big Deals online store. You can also find links to download the free Big Deals Media app for your phone. Works on Apple and Android cells. Shop quickly and access all your mobile Big Deal certificates easily for redemption. You can also easily send a mobile certificate to someone else to use via email. Check it out and join the thousands that save with Big Deal certificates to local businesses.
Shop and save with Big Deals at hometownlive.net. That's hometownlive.net.
Sutton Pharmacy. Friendly service from people you know. Generations of serving our community. Immunizations, prescriptions, and so much more. Helpful people, free local delivery. Mobile app refills right to your door. Visit SuttonRx.com. Sutton Pharmacy. Friendly service from people you know.
In Lancaster on Maple Avenue.
Hey, Hey, this is Joe Mathis inviting you to join me every weekday morning on The Joe Show on 103.9 FM and AM 1230 WHIR. We talk good news. We talk local news. We talk high school sports with area coaches. We have special guests on. We get your Danville morning started off the right way on 103.9 FM and AM 1230 WHIR. Dan Fridays in The Joe Show on WHIR.
Listen to us on your smart speaker. Just ask to play our call letters. WHIR.
All right, great to have you. Thanks. I appreciate you stopping by the Joe Pag Show. There's a lot going on. So Senator John Fetterman goes to Mar-a-Lago, has a stake. It doesn't make him a Republican, but if he's going to be more moderate and maybe votes with Trump here and there, that'd be pretty good. In the meantime, J.D. Vance has resigned from the Senate, which he had to do. And I guess people wonder about what the procedure is. He's now going to be the president of the Senate. Kamala Harris is the president of the Senate until January 20th. That's why she had to count the electors and the votes of the delegates and announce that Donald Trump won. So J.D. Vance will be somebody who's going to be like-minded. This is from the AP. Julie Carr Smythe. It could be Smith. It's S-M-Y-T-H. I think Smythe might have to have an E at the end. So I'm going to say Smith with a Y. Who knows? This is out of Columbus, Ohio. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance is resigning from his seat in the U.S. Senate effective Friday, tomorrow. Vance made his intentions known in a letter to Thursday, today, to Ohio Republican Governor Mike DeWine, who will choose his successor. As I prepare to assume my duties as Vice President of the United States, I'd like to express that it has been a tremendous honor and privilege to serve the people of Ohio in the Senate over the past 2 years, Vance wrote in the letter. In a separate statement released by Vance, the outgoing senator nodded to his hardscrabble roots growing up in Appalachia. Quote, when I was elected to this office, I promised to never forget where I came from, and I made sure to live by that promise every single day, Vance said. DeWine has said he would make the appointment once Vance vacates the seat. DeWine spokesperson said DeWine was at the governor's event with Trump at Mar-a-Lago Thursday evening, I guess tonight, making it unlikely he would announce any appointment before Friday. DeWine said, why can't you say today, tonight, and tomorrow? Why do we have to keep saying Thursday, Thursday night, and Friday? We have such advanced computer systems now in this country that if I write the word Thursday, or if I write the word today, and I go through and do a search and find and replace today with Thursday, why can't we do that? Sam, is it me or is that annoying?
It's annoying, but also some people might be reading this next week. So
right, that's what I'm saying. After tomorrow, you go through, you find and replace, and you make it Thursday.
Right. There you go. Boom.
Boom. It's called technology. If AI can fake my voice and do a complete voiceover on something, they can't change a word? Come on, man. We could do that like 1980. The right. TRS-80, we were doing that. All right, so DeWine is going to be announcing somebody. I don't know who it might be. If you're in Ohio, you might have a better idea of who these people are, but it looks like he's got a long list of elected Republicans in the state. They've expressed interest in the seat. Secretary of State Frank LaRose, Treasurer Robert Sprague, U.S. Representative Mike Carey, State Senator Matt Dolan, former Republican State Chair Jane Timken, and GOP attorney and strategist Mecca Cook, M-E-H-E-K, Mecca Cook. Sam, what would you say there?
Mecca.
I don't know. But those appear to be the front runners, so we'll see what happens with that. But this is just another part of the procedure. It's all really going to be, held up by what happens tomorrow. Because the fact is, if he wanted to, Judge Merchan could sentence Trump to prison tomorrow. He could. And the question becomes, could then Trump still be the president? Yes. There is nothing in the Constitution, nor in our bylaws, that says a president can't be the president if he's in prison. Now, if he's in prison, of course, the Democrats immediately, first of all, he'd be inaugurated in prison. This would be something. Sam, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Oh, my gosh. Is that possible?
Yes.
No way.
Right?
I could not imagine. That would be really, really, really weird.
He could do it. Now, I think that immediately the Supreme Court would then jump in. It would be 9-0 that you can't throw the guy in prison. Having said that, he could put him in prison tomorrow, sentence him to prison. He wants to call him a convicted felon tomorrow. That's the whole idea behind why he's doing it. But he could do that. He would be inaugurated in prison, and then immediately the Democrats would try to impeach him. Hey, he's in prison. You can't be the president. Well, that wouldn't happen. There might be some push to get the 25th Amendment going. Listen, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. I don't want to. None of this should be happening tomorrow. The fact that Coney Barrett, who was appointed by Trump, John Roberts, the Chief Justice, who was appointed by Bush, both sided with the Democrats in this to allow the sentencing to happen tomorrow is nuts. I mean, that's complete and utter betrayal, not of Trump, but it's a betrayal of the Constitution of this land. Anybody who's got a brain. My 10-year-old daughter said, hey, Dad, that case in New York sucks. Mershon's an idiot. Can I have some more potatoes? This is anybody can look at this and say, I'm not a legal scholar, but, dude, what are you thinking here? I don't know why they're allowing it to happen. Now, the proper procedure is after it happens, and the sentence is probably going to be suspended sentence, no jail time, going to be no fine. He's just going to be released. But he'll be called a convicted felon. And all those idiots that went to Blue Sky from Twitter or X, they'll be, hey, convicted felon is a president. God, really stupid. So that's probably what's going to happen. And then almost immediately, Alina Habba and others, Will Scharf and others, they're all going to now bring the case to the appellate division in New York. It'll be thrown out, and I'll be stunned if Judge Mershon remains a judge, a district judge in New York. He should be tossed on his ass. That's how bad that is. But that's probably what's going to go down. There's also this push by 15,000 doctors that want the Senate to reject RFK Jr. Man, this is how dumb it is. Stupid. That's how dumb it is. Alejandra O'Connell Demenich, I don't know what her name is, from The Hill wrote, more than 15,000 doctors urged Senate to reject RFK Jr. as health secretary. She goes on to say they signed a letter. They signed a letter urging senators to vote against President-elect Trump's nominee for Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. In the letter, physicians said they are appalled by Trump's reckless appointment of Kennedy, arguing that it would be dangerous if confirmed to top public health post. Sam, quickly, search how many doctors are in the United States. There's 15,000 have signed this letter. It was published online by the Committee to Protect Healthcare. Go ahead.
As of May 2024, thanks to Google, there are 1.1 million active physicians in the United States.
1.1 million active physicians, and they can only get 15,000 to sign this damn thing? I mean, seriously, I want you to think about that, because that means that this is a nothing. This is, as Judge Judy would say, is a nothing. 15,000 is nothing. I mean, I remember there were 51 former and current intelligence leaders that all said that Hunter Biden's laptop looked like Russian disinformation. So taking the word of these people obviously who lean to the left, don't like Trump, and don't want somebody to actually go in and audit the Department of Health and Human Services in this country, this is why they're saying that. This is why they're doing it. And at the end of the day, he's going to be either appointed in a recess appointment, or they're going to have him appointed as a confirmed person by the Senate. I hope it's the latter. I want the full Senate to say, yes, he should be the guy. All right, 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-JOE-PAGS, or joepags.com. Scroll down, click on Contact. Want to hear from you. Laura Trump when we come back. Stay here.
Joe Pags.
WHIR.
This is the Kentucky News Network.
Attorney General Russell Coleman says Kentucky will receive $110 million from Kroger to settle opioid lawsuit claims. Paul Miles has details.
The grocery chain agreed to pay nearly $1.4 billion to settle lawsuits filed by dozens of states that claim Kroger pharmacies helped fuel the opioid epidemic. Coleman says Kroger was responsible for 444 million opioid doses coming into the Commonwealth during a 13-year period.
But most shockingly, there was no serious system in place, no internal serious system in place in Kroger to track or report suspicious activities. None. No trainings for staff, no guidelines to prevent abuse.
Kroger has said the settlement is not an admission of wrongdoing or liability. I'm Paul Miles.
A winter storm warning takes effect Friday in northwest Kentucky. The National Weather Service says up to 6 inches of snow will fall tomorrow. The highest snowfall amounts will be in the areas south of the western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways. The winter storm warning will be in effect from 3 a.m. Friday to 6 a.m. Saturday. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul wants to save TikTok in the United States. He sent a letter to President Biden urging him to give the social media platform a 90-day extension. Currently, TikTok has until January 19th to sell or face a ban. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments tomorrow, January 10th, to consider if the proposed ban violates the First Amendment. Kentucky State Police have a death investigation on their hands. A woman was found dead Wednesday morning in the parking lot of the Campbellsburg Dollar General. She's identified as 56-year-old Rebecca Skeen of Smithfield. Police have not yet determined her cause of death. I'm Joe Lincoln.
This is the Kentucky News Network.
Did you know that WHIR AM 1230 is the talk of the town? We're not spreading gossip. We're just letting you know where the best talk radio is found all day, every day. Mornings begin with Danville's own Joe Mathis and The Joe Show.
Hey, this is Joe Mathis.
Wake up to what you missed. News, weather, sports, and local guests. Followed by Kentucky Sports Radio with Matt Jones.
Welcome, everyone. Kentucky Sports Radio. I'm Matt Jones.
Then, the man who has an opinion about everything, Tomas Mauricio.
I'm Tomas Mauricio. I invite you to tune in.
Starting at noon with Advocates for America. Then at 3, it's the best-known name in news, Sean Hannity.
Join me, Sean Hannity, on WHIR.
Then, Joe Pag starts off weekday evenings at 6 with his take on the day's news, mixed with his fun parody songs about the news.
Hey, it's Joe Pag on WHIR.
Afterwards, at 10, it's the unique world of John B. Wells on WHIR with his Caravan to Midnight show.
This is John B. Wells, WHIR, AM 1230 and FM 103.9.
These guys have a lot to say, and they'll be glad to have you join them every weekday on your home for news, talk, sports. AM 1230, WHIR, the talk of the town.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Cars you can give a low down payment. No credit, low credit, big save. You should call right now, stop wait.
It's your man Jay Parks at Chrysler Lawrenceburg, 1181 bypass South Lawrenceburg, 7403442. Come on through while I make it do what it do. Deals is amazing. Round this way, 502-839-2012.
It's amazing.
Planning a wedding? Paying for a wedding? Attending a wedding? Hi, this is Pim Fitzgerald Clark with Wedding Planning with Pim, inviting you to join us Monday through Friday after the 8:30 morning news on WHIR AM 1230. I'll give you sound wedding planning advice and money-saving tips, information you need, and you'll get it all right here at your favorite radio station, WHIR AM 1230.
It's 8:34.
The WHIR weather forecast is brought to you by the Little Sign Shop. Need a sign, banner, or decals fast? See the new owners and operators at the Little Sign Shop, located in Danville, where 2nd and 4th Street meet.
Increasing clouds tonight, a low of 13. Snow mainly after 1 tomorrow afternoon, high of 31. New snow accumulation 1 to 3 inches possible. For tomorrow night, snow before 1 a.m., low of 23. New snow accumulation 1 to 3 inches possible. Mostly cloudy Saturday, high of 29. Sunny Sunday, high of 36.
It's 13 degrees.
Now, the Joe Pag Show on WHIR.
Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this young lady back. Of course, she's the former co-chair of the RNC. She's President Trump's daughter-in-law. It is Laura Trump. Laura, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, great to be with you. Thank you so much.
You know, I just got done doing a TikTok, and we'll get into TikTok in a second, whether that ban is going to happen. By the way, I'm over 750,000 followers on TikTok now. They're going crazy for what I'm posting over there. It's a really good outlet, but we'll talk about whether it's going to last or not in a second. But the TikTok that I made was about the wildfires, and it was about your father-in-law 6 years ago in the White House saying they have to do something about the brush. They've got to do something about the leaves. They've got to do something about the lack of water in that area. And then just 3 months ago, or whatever it was on the Rogan podcast, he says the same thing and talks about the mechanism of getting Canadian snow melt to go into the west coast of the United States, millions of gallons into California, but they're diverting it into the Pacific Ocean to save some fish that you and I probably don't even know the name of the fish. Laura, what's going on here? Is this just extreme mismanagement because of these fires that we're seeing now?
I mean, it appears so. And look, without being out there, I can't give you a definitive, but what I do know is that when you take $17 million away from the LAFD budget, whenever you have fire hydrants running out of water, and you know you're going to face these situations. I understand January isn't typically the month that happens, but it seems like the leadership, and I'm going to put that in air quotes because it's hard to call these people that, in California, all the way from the governor down to the mayoral level, has failed the citizens of California, the citizens of Los Angeles. These are people's lives that have, I mean, some of them have lost their lives. People are never going to have their homes again. Their homes are destroyed. Schools are destroyed. It is an absolute tragedy out there. And the sad part is it really does feel like, Joe, that if people had done the proper job and the job that they were hired to do by the citizens out there, maybe we wouldn't see things have gotten so out of control and so out of hand. And so I hope the people of California, Los Angeles, have started to wake up, if they aren't awake already, and realize that you guys voted people into office who have prioritized everything but you, it feels like right now. I certainly hope they start to get a handle on things out on the West Coast.
It's not like we don't know that it happens there. We know that it happens there. And again, your father-in-law said it very eloquently. You and I have been talking about it. We've been in television and radio and every kind of news forever. We always see these happen in that part of the world. What preventive measures have been put in place? And it turns out none. Then you've got the mayor is in Ghana at some inauguration that you and I didn't even know was happening, and you've got the governor walking around making sure his skinny jeans look good in the shot. It doesn't make sense to me why nothing has been done. Can the federal government, do you think, when your father-in-law gets back into office, can he do something to say, we will now take control of this because you're not doing the job for Americans that happen to live in California?
Well, I think that's an option, and I think the people of California would probably welcome it at this point, because obviously their own people out there have totally failed them. And I think it'll be nice, quite frankly, to have someone in the White House who is an actual leader, who leads through strength, and who actually puts in place common sense ideas and you know, does things that actually work for people. There's been a real lack of common sense. It's felt like over the past 4 years, and you look around at a lot of these blue states and they just do things that are completely asinine. I think I remember a couple of years ago, San Francisco spending $1 million on one toilet, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
That is a poor use of people's money out there when you know you're going to have these wildfires, when you know that it can, you know, take people's lives. This is real stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, certainly. And I think Donald Trump could be the person to step in, save the state of California. And look, I think the people out there are getting sick of dealing with this kind of thing. I think they're ready for a change in leadership out there. I'm going to predict right now that there will be a Republican elected as governor of the state of California at some point in the near future, because honestly, I think the people have just had it. They're fed up, and I don't think they're going to survive otherwise out there.
Mark this date, Laura Trump, on January 9th, 2025, says a Republican governor's on the way. Listen, I don't deny it. When we saw the Republican governor Pataki take over New York, and when Rudy Giuliani became the mayor, it hit critical mass. New York City was done, and they didn't really care if it was an R or a D. They wanted it fixed, and California has to be there now, right?
I would think so. I mean, whenever you see one of our great American cities literally burning to the ground, and then look, the fire doesn't care, you know, whether you have $1 billion, it doesn't care whether you have $10. It's taking people's lives. It's taking people's homes. It's leveling the city all the way to the sea. It's horrific to see. And I think you do get to a point where you say, look, I know that I voted a certain way my entire life. I know I've been really bought into this, but something isn't working. And honestly, I think it's what happened, quite frankly, in the election in 2024. I think it's the reason a lot of people voted for Donald Trump. They said, we can't continue with an open border. We can't continue sending billions of dollars overseas when we need help right here at home. We can't continue with crime on the rise, with inflation as high as it is, gas prices out of control. We want common sense, and we want somebody who is actually talking about fixing those problems. They got that in Donald Trump. So if somebody shows up in California, starts speaking common sense and saying things that actually, you know, impact the people's lives there in California in a positive way, they have a pretty good shot of actually becoming the next governor of California, even if they're a Republican.
It's Laura Trump. Go follow her everywhere, the former co-chair of the RNC. You had a lot to do with what happened on November 5th, and the ramifications and the repercussions, and I don't know, when you toss the rock into the river, all those ripple effects happen. We're seeing it like crazy. What do you think of John Fetterman who's going to be sitting down and meeting with your father-in-law? I mean, you're seeing Democrats who are now coming out as extremely moderate, if not leaning right.
Well, and I think a lot of people heard the cry of the American people on November 5th. And I mean, it was a mandate. People have used that word over and over again. But you can't look at what happened in this past election and not sit back and really take stock of things if you're a Democrat, especially if you're a very liberal Democrat. And I think I'd put John Fetterman in that category, but he's also a guy throughout the course of the campaign and election who kind of started making a little bit of sense, which is kind of shocking to say. But here's the reality. When people are being honest and you look at the policies Donald Trump ran on and you look at the things people voted for him because of, they all make sense, and it's what we all want to see. We want more money in our pocket. We want safer communities. We want a sovereign country, and we don't want to send all of our money overseas. We don't want to be fighting in these endless wars anymore. It just makes sense. And so I love to see it. Look, Donald Trump was there talking with President Obama today, at Jimmy Carter's funeral.
And having a laugh somehow, which was weird.
I think that's great. And I think we're going to see more of that, Joe, as we head into Donald Trump's second term in office. And I will forever talk about the fact that I think the timing was now for him. Yeah, it would have been great to have 8 years of Donald Trump consecutively. But the fact that the country got the 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in between, we saw the devastation and destruction that the Democrat policies, caused, that they look around the country, things are falling apart. It took that for people to understand who Donald Trump really is, that they've been sold a bad bill of goods on this man. I actually believe this is the beginning of unity in America. He always says revenge will be success. The success for the American people, that's the revenge Donald Trump wants. He is going to be the great unifier, despite what they've done to him, despite the lawfare, despite attempts on his life. I believe we've started to see that happening. And look around store windows in New York City. Joe, they're all doing the Trump dance, the mannequin. So I'm just saying something's going on.
It's funny. I did a TikTok with two of my daughters. We went to New York and I did the Trump dance in front of Trump Tower. We all did, and we posted that. And there was quite a few. It was like in the summertime. Still got a lot of views. So everybody's doing it. They're actually selling proudly. They're selling "Make America Great Again" hats in New York City. Trump shirts in New York City. A real sea change. I think you had a lot to do with that. It's Laura Trump. Follow her everywhere. I've got to quickly talk about the sea change in social media as well. Mark Zuckerberg 4 years ago paid $500 million in an effort to beat your father-in-law. I mean, think about that. He's meeting with President Trump. Now he put Dana White on his board of directors. I mean, some people are starting to read the writing on the wall, aren't they?
I think so, and I think they better.
Did you see that coming, though, with Zuckerberg?
That one was interesting. I did notice that after the assassination attempt in Butler, he came out and he said, look, you can't look at what Donald Trump did and standing up on stage after being shot, yelling, fight, 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 and not think this man is a badass. That was a badass thing to do. Yes. So he did acknowledge that. So, look, I think there's been a complete culture shift in our country over the past year. I mean, it probably started 4 years ago, but it's really come full circle. And Donald Trump and the Republican Party really is the anti-establishment party. We were kind of the counterculture party for so many people. And it's a beautiful thing to see people coming around. Now, you can forgive. You never forget what people did. But I think it's great, and I think it's good for this country. The direction we were heading was so scary, and it was so un-American, and it was just anti-freedom overall. So, look, to see these people come around and come to Mar-a-Lago, I've met many of them myself there, had some interesting dinners there. I think it's great to see, and I'll always embrace that, as will Donald Trump, because I think it is better for the American people to have everyone together and on the same page than fighting against one another. So I'm always happy to see it. But no, if you would have asked me a year ago, that one would not have been on my bingo card for sure.
Yeah, mine neither, because when I saw that happen, now he's getting rid of fact checkers too. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about social media. Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok. I got on during the campaign.
Okay.
I got to keep up. Now that I know you're on there and you're posting all this
Huge.
hot content, I got to get involved.
It's a lot of good stuff. Now, I don't know how many followers you have, but I brag and I say I've got 750,000. We'll be 1 million soon. But I like TikTok. It's not a free speech platform. They lie. They say that it's free speech. It's not. You've got to be careful with what you say. You can't say gun. You've got to say pew-pew. You can't say murder. You've got to say unalive. It's all very dumb.
Oh, I didn't know any of this. Thanks for giving me a rundown.
Well, yeah, I'll send you an email on it. But the bottom line is this. I think more speech is better than less speech. And having it available, knowing what we're facing. Yes, its ownership is in China. I'd like to see that change. Yes, it's feeding anti-American stuff, I think, sometimes in the swiping. That should change. I want to see change in it, but saying we're going to ban it, it just doesn't make sense to me. And your father-in-law doesn't want to do that. I don't know if you want to do that or not. I don't. I would like to see ownership leave Beijing, obviously. Where are you on that? Because we've only got, 10 days until that goes away, unless something happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if you go over to China right now and you look at their version of TikTok, it's very different than what we have here in America. I mean, they're championing, kids learning how to play the cello and getting high math scores and things like that are on their feeds there.
Right.
A little different than here in America. You're right. There is some anti-American content on there. There's some things that I don't agree with, but I will fight forever for things with which I disagree if it is in the name of freedom.
Yes.
And I don't like the idea of banning anything. I agree with you on that, and I agree with Donald Trump on that. I would love to see ownership, like you just said, come here to America. It makes me very uncomfortable to know that, Chinese are in charge of this for a whole host of different reasons.
Right.
But look, I think it's become such a powerful platform, and there are so many people on there right now that, look, if we can just tweak things a little bit, make it a little more palatable to those of us here who do appreciate freedom in America, then I would say let's try to keep it. So much like anyone's freedom of speech, I think that this sort of falls in the same category for me. I may not agree with everything that you have to say, but I will certainly fight with every breath in my body to defend your right to say it, much like I think we should do with all the social media.
I love that. It's Laura Trump. I want to quickly ask you, why no run for Senate this time? Might we see you run for Senate in the future or some other office?
Yeah, well, look, I said no for now, not no forever.
Yeah.
It was a very tough decision. I was really interested in this, and I did a lot of research, talked to a lot of people. But to be really honest, the timing just didn't feel perfect for me. I do have a very young family. They're all here in Florida, and it would have been very challenging for me. I have something exciting that I'll announce probably right after the inauguration.
Okay.
So that came sort of on my plate, and I said, you know what, this feels like a better fit for me right now. So you will see more of me, not less. I will announce that right now.
What a tease. Come on.
So stay tuned for more. But look, I had such an incredible time serving as co-chair of the RNC.
You did so well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so it's really opened my eyes to, the nice side of politics and the way you can impact people's lives. And look, I've seen Donald Trump do it the past 9 years since he officially became a politician. And I know he hates that word. So yeah, maybe something's in my future. We'll see. I let God guide me, and I just take his lead and follow him. So whatever he's got in store for me, I'm ready to go. But right now didn't feel like the perfect time for me.
Let's talk about 11 days from now. He hits office at noon on January 20th. The stack of executive orders, I'm guessing, will be in the hundreds. What are the priorities? I mean, obviously close the border. You got to go back and codify just about everything that he did, when he was in office the first time. But you're looking at a bunch of other stuff too. And all of it, you sort of hear the word, I'm going to do that day one. I think that he wants to. I think that he'll do it in the first few days. What are the priorities when he steps back into that White House?
I mean, I think you've kind of seen the priorities leading into inauguration. I think that's been the interesting thing for me. Look, as the second time around for all of us watching this transition happen, I can tell you it's very different now than it was in 2016 and 2017. He's giving himself such an on-ramp, and he's prepping things in such a way that the second he steps foot into the Oval Office there, right after that inauguration, he's going to be ready to go. You're right. priority number one, I think, for him is going to be to close the southern border and ensure that happens with rapid speed. I think he wants to make sure that we get our energy independence back, that we are energy dominant very soon in this country. It put us in such a weakened state. Yeah. Obviously, it added to the inflation we saw. We want to see those gas prices go down. It gives us just such strength on the world stage to be energy dominant as well. I think that'll be one of his top priorities. And then I think, look, you've seen him talk with all the Middle Eastern leaders. You've seen that he has had a lot to say about the Russia-Ukraine war. He wants to end those as soon as possible. He wants the killing to stop. That's what he has said. And he believes he can do so in really rapid order. He's also said that if the hostages are not released by the time he is sworn in as president of the United States, I think he said specifically, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah.
So I hope that the terrorists over in the Middle East are paying close attention to Donald Trump.